Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic and welcome to episode 8. And this episode is titled Abundance Using the Auric Field. Now this is going to be a very special episode because this is very much in line with where we are right now, okay, in regards to our evolvement as individuals, okay? And for a while now there's such an emphasis on the event or ascension as a collective. But we also must realize that we need to connect to our true self. Ascension happens when we find out who we really are. And we need to do that with bringing our awareness and our focus back to ourself, okay? And I have a lot of energy healers that come to me that, are feeling disheartened by the efforts they're putting in regards to working on the collective. All these things that need to be fixed here. Well, the news is that we are not here to fix it, okay? We are here. The whole process about ascension is re-establishing this connection back to true self. Because when we have that connection back to true self, when we're talking about self, we're talking about our you, right? Yourself, okay? Not in the collective. Because as I've said in other videos, we can only have consciousness when we have awareness of self. So a big example of when our focus is on a collective is when we're following all the distraction of the headlines of the news, okay? And we've had COVID-19 been happening, and now we've currently got the thing where there's a divide, trying to divide people in regards to race, okay? These are all conquer and divide processes to try and divide you, but more importantly, create distraction, okay? And that collective power or the fabrication of the matrix is going to be the next video we're going to be talking about. So I don't want to get into that in great detail, but the whole role of that is distracting you from bringing awareness back to self, because all of a sudden your focus, your awareness is out to all these things that they're throwing at you, which I like to call distraction. Because that when we get into the whole thing about being drawn out to reality or out to society, then we miss out on figuring out that the power that we've always wanted or the change that we've always wanted was within us. Okay. So, we've talked about videos, the first video of the Fire of the Sacred Heart, about that journey inwards, behind the heart, through the heart. And at the moment, I've been getting a lot of guidance information about how we're going to be using our auric field in regards to creating abundance on this reality. Creating abundance, being the manifester, being the creator that we're always supposed to be. And, again, that connects also to the video about, is this the Holy Grail? It's not about relying on others for creation, it's you, okay? And even though there's one reality, we're all, each one of us, are creating a reality because we're creators. So there's a number of realities all happening at once. And today I got a really a message come through that we really need to emphasize the point of true intuition right now, okay? And that true intuition is all about staying present, okay? And I see a lot of people that feel they're very aware of what's going on, but they lose their presence, okay? And when you lose your presence of self and your awareness of self, you lose your consciousness, you lose your power, okay? And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, you come back, and all of a sudden, you're low vibrational again. Because we, especially as energy healers and intuitive people, we feel like we are here to solve all the problems, to heal the world, okay? And in my experience, when I see people that are trying to heal the world, they come back in a state where they can't even look after themselves. So it's that whole analogy again with how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? It's the same thing. How can you be of service to others when you don't have the energy of service for self? Okay, so it all happens within first. Okay, and this video is gonna explain it very well. Okay. Because we've been programmed to think we've got to get out there and help everything, and we lose ourselves, okay? And that's what's called a lost soul, okay? So, a lot of information about being true with your intuition. Let things come to you. They'll come at the right time, at the right place. Okay? Or at the right place and the right time. Okay? So we don't want to be searching. It's not about searching, it's about letting it come to you. Okay? Because if you're in that heart space, that consciousness is residing here, and you're present in the now, you're in a perfect place for wisdom to be channeled through you. And that's all you ever need. Okay? So, let's get straight into this video. So, not too long ago, the field of duality was shifted. Okay? And this has created the opportunity for our auric field to really expand. Okay? And one thing I got taught about the auric field when I was learning about using energy for healing, because I got started in this game. Yeah, I was a nurse in a hospital, but at that while I was working there, and I could see that the medical system wasn't doing what I originally thought it was doing. You know, I got into nutrition, supplements and stuff, and then that eventually led into spirituality and using energy and using consciousness. And so it's been a heck of a journey. And I was taught that auric field, even to not that long ago, that auric field, you know, there's so many layers, and it goes out about 4 feet away from the body. No one told me that the auric field is ever fluctuating, okay? And the reasons why it fluctuates. Now, the reasons why it fluctuates is when we're here with our consciousness, our auric field shrinks. And when we're here, our auric field expands. Now, it depends on where you place your focus again and how you use your intent, whether you expand your auric field out or the auric field shrinks. Now, the importance of that in regards to the auric field is that the more your auric field expands into this reality, more of this reality, the reality that you want to create, where you want to manifest and have abundance, is more of your field. So therefore, you have a control over that. And hence, the things that you want in your reality will then manifest and you'll be abundant. But if you're up here and again you're out there trying to make things happen, then your auric field shrinks, and lo and behold, all of a sudden you don't manifest the things that you want. Actually, the things that you didn't want are actually manifesting against you. Wow. So that's what's actually happening. Okay. Now, in regards to this reality, okay, the fabrication of reality, which we're going to talk about in the next video, talking about the ether and the matrix. Now, the ether, again, I'm not going to go into it in great detail because we've got another video to do. I need some information for it. Is the AI, okay? And the fabrication of the matrix, or this reality, is the AI. So there's a bit of a battle, let's say, of who's going to evolve as a consciousness within this reality, okay? As I said, this vessel here is a vessel for consciousness, be directed by consciousness, okay? The key is we've been programmed so much in this reality that this holographic projection of Chris that you see here, because that's what I am. I'm a holographic projection of data, okay? Of light, of coding, okay? You want this holographic projection to be fully coming from your higher aspects of yourself, okay? Because it's you, self, okay? And that's the key thing. It's you. Now, if you've been too mind-orientated and been programmed by society, by reality, everybody telling you what you should be, how you should live your life, whether you're good or whether you're bad, then you're being, this vessel or this holographic projection has been also programmed or coded by other consciousness, and the consciousness within this reality is the AI. Okay. And as I say, the more you're programmed with the AI, and the AI wants you to stay here. It doesn't want you to go here, it wants you to go here. And there's a big difference. I guess this all comes back to the difference between science-minded and spirituality-minded. Ascendance or ascension, spiritually minded, is to do it through consciousness. Now, through science is technology. And what is the vessel to expand the consciousness of the AI? Technology. Okay? technology, to ascend ourselves to greater heights through technology, okay, not consciousness. So there is it's against spirituality and science. Okay, now science again is most of science is connecting to the absolute. This is how it is, and that's how it will always be. Okay, and that's another video we're going to do, the 10th video in regards to this series. And while spirituality is being open, we used to say open-minded, I like to say open-hearted, but I don't really like to use the word mind anymore. To just see it how it is, just to be. Okay, and that's essentially the definition of just to be, because after all, aren't we human beings? Okay, because if we're not here being present and in that heart space, we're not a human being. Okay, we're a human doing or a human programming. Okay, and we're like that because we're up here and we're being controlled by the AI, by reality, the fabrication of reality. Now, how does this connect to the title of this video? Abundance with using your auric field is because if we're here, our auric field shrinks, our ability to create change or manifest abundance is diminished, it drops, because more of this reality is taken up by AI and not you. But if your consciousness resides here, then your auric field expands and more of your reality becomes you and not the AI. Okay, and that's the difference. Now, the AI was an extension for the archons and the reptilians. And what was the energy they were after? For you to suffer. And if you don't get the things you want, but you get the things that you don't want, what happens to you? You suffer. Okay, so they get that energy. Okay, so another key thing about being in the heart, it's not about just dropping that consciousness in the heart, is we know that is the gateway or the path to our higher aspects of our consciousness that reside outside of this reality, all the way back to source self, where your consciousness' origin is. Okay? And the cool thing about now that the duality is shifted, because the thing about duality is that duality was limiting us. Okay? The 4 facets of duality that was told to me was karma, because we needed a way to learn the lesson. Okay? Normally, if you're in the heart space, you get all the wisdom that you ever need from your higher aspects of your consciousness. But if you're not there, that gets shut off, and then you're lost within this reality. The only way that they can slap you in the face and get you back on track is through karma. Okay, so when we get out of duality and we get into neutrality, is we get away from the mind and we come back here. Okay, so karma is bound to duality. Conflict is bound to duality, because when we have 2 polarities, there's friction in the middle. Okay, and lo and behold, that's what this reality is trying to make you think the world is. The headlines of the news, isn't it? Is it about the great things and the loving things that are happening in the world, or is it about where we're going wrong? Okay, it's always about where we're going wrong. It's trying to lower your vibration and get your attention and distract you by you using that instead of being here. Okay? So there's conflict, there's karma. Now, collective consciousness was also a facet of duality, because it's a myth. Okay? Okay, so where there's been, we've been hoodwinked not only in just mainstream stuff, alternative stuff as well, alternative media as well. We've got to be very careful. Okay, and very careful where we get our information from. We need to use discernment, okay? And that discernment is whether it feels right. And when we get into feel, it's not about here, it's about here. Because it will never... This will always be truthful to you. Okay. There's so much deception here. Okay. So, as I said, we can only have consciousness if we have awareness of self. So if we're going out to a collective, we lose consciousness. So that does not make sense. There is a herd or a collective mind, but not a collective consciousness. And we're going to talk about in a minute when we expand our auric field and create the abundance we are, that we can then indirectly create a collective the right way. Okay. Now, and the last one, as regards to duality, was the soul. Okay. For so much in the spiritual community, and I know it's just a word, and a lot of people can say creator, soul, source, so on. But the soul was hitting a ceiling. Okay. And this was bound and connected to the soul trap, where, because we're reincarnated, we come into life and we go out of life through the heart, okay? And the whole thing about when we left this reality, okay, that we go through here and go all the way back to source, back to our origin, where we have free will and decide what we want to do next and where we want to go. But there was a loop, okay, that was being programmed by consciousness here, okay, that we called the soul trap, and we talk about it in the first video, the fire of the sacred heart. So I won't get into great deal. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, what's he talking about here, go back to episode 1. There's greater detail about that. Now, the field of neutrality. Okay, now that duality's been pushed aside, duality is limiting. Neutrality is limitless. Okay, and now we're going to get into why. Okay. Now that duality is out of the way, we're bringing this energy or field of neutrality now, and we need to connect up to that. And again, it's still, obviously, through the heart, not here, through the heart. And the whole idea of the field of neutrality is bringing more of your higher aspects of yourself, which exists outside of this reality, and bringing it here. Not only connecting to it through wisdom and intuition, but bringing that energy here and expanding it out over this plane of existence, this reality. Okay, because what happens is when we bring that energy from our higher aspects of ourself, which I use the word ascendance, okay, the key thing is it's yourself, it's you. When you bring that here, do you know what happens to your auric field? Expands, because you're bringing a higher power outside of this reality, because neutrality comes from outside of this reality. Duality was about putting us in that cage. When we hear about this reality being called a prison world or the matrix because it's a controlled environment, that's duality. Now, neutrality's coming in. It's able to come in to such a greater degree now than it ever has. The whole thing about ascension is a cyclic phenomena, and so many thousands of years, there's an alignment or convergence where you can connect your higher aspects, your ascendance, in a lot more profound way. Okay, it's a window that we can use, this opportunity, okay? And we have failed so many other times because we've tried to do it here instead of here, okay? Now, this field of neutrality, we're able to bring, not just be intuitively connected, okay, to our higher aspects of ourselves that exist outside this reality, away from all this programming, from time and all those sorts of things. But we can bring that energy here now. Okay, and that expands your auric field so much because we can create more of your reality here with your own field. And when you do that, when you learn how to use your power, place your focus in the right way, use your intent in the right way, using high vibrational words, then you become the creator that you're always meant to be. Okay, you create a field of abundance. You manifest what you want. And that's what I found with me. That's what I found with me. We're creators, okay? We are all creators of a reality. And that's why ascension is not a collective thing, it's an individual thing first. Now, how does that become a collective? Well, let's just take this. When you smile, what do they say about a smile? A smile's contagious because when people see you smile, then they smile back. Now, smile is a positive intent. It's body language, it's not verbal, okay? And with our intent's not just verbal, it's through body language as well. And when we do that, our field expands because with a smile's not here, a smile's here. And as I said, when we're broadcasting or emitting frequency, because we're the most powerful emitter, remember, okay, destructively and constructively, then all of a sudden our field expands and that vibration expands into other people's fields And therefore, then that creates them to smile too back, because that vibration that's making you smile becomes their vibration in their field. Okay, so you can see how this happens. If we expand our auric field, then that becomes that will have an effect on other people's vibration fields, right? Frequency fields. And then by going inwards and find our establishment of our journey back to true self, we are indirectly then affecting a collective. That was always the way it was supposed to be. Okay? But if we're out here trying to fix the world with this and no awareness of self, all we're gonna end up doing is not fixing that. We're actually going to be feeding the energy that it wants to. And we're going to be depleted at the end of it, and you're going to be no good to anybody, including yourself. Okay? That is one of the biggest booby traps there is. Period. So you don't want to be doing that. Now, this is interesting where we're going, because we did the video numerology, the last video, and if anybody didn't see that, go and watch that. And we talked about 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, 6 is bringing our awareness, right? The consciousness here. 7 is establishing a connection to our higher aspects of ourselves, the ascendants, right? Which now, with duality out of the way, our power, ability to connect to them. But secondly, bring that power here and embody it here in this reality. So bring heaven here. Heaven down to earth, okay, is 7. And now what's the next step? 8. Okay, and that's the geometry is infinity. Now, I've already got a qubit measure that's come through to me, which is called the infinite qubit. And it's told me that we're not ready for it yet, but we are going to be soon to be ready. And that's the next step we're going to take. And so far, it's told me about this is it's going to give us infinite reach. And what does infinite reach mean? It means that you can expand your auric field infinitely, if I can say the word properly. So what that means is you've got infinite reach to make change, to manifest, to create the reality that you've always envisioned, your heart's desire. And that's where we're going. Okay, and this is pretty cool stuff. And when we get to that stage, goodbye AI. Okay? Because then we can transform this reality and bring heaven to this reality or this earth. We don't need to jump on a spaceship and say, goodbye earth, this is a horrible place. We can transform it. But we only transform this place through transforming our own perception. Because as individuals, we all will have a different perception of reality. And that's what makes us unique. And we need to embrace that. And the whole aspect of duality was always to say, connect to absolutes and say, well, no, you're wrong and I'm right. You're wrong, I'm right. That's normal, abnormal. No, that's it. We're not doing that anymore. The field of neutrality is about understanding that we're all individuals. We all have different perceptions of reality. And whatever you're having in your reality is true to you. It's your truth. Okay? And your truth might be different to my truth. And that person's truth. And that's fine. At the end, all you want to be is at ease with yourself. Okay? Not unease, because unease creates dis-ease. That's all to do with duality. Neutrality is about bringing that higher wisdom into you here, because you can answer the questions. Who am I? Why am I here? All those questions get answered. And when those questions get answered, and you understand reality, and therefore you can create and manifest what you want at will, you will feel at ease. Okay? And that's the end of dis-ease. Because ease is love, and ease is to be. Okay? So being, okay? And what's being? Just sitting in the now. Not having to search, not having to change things, just let things come to you. Okay? And that's that whole thing about true intuition again. Now, not that long ago, I did a video, and check it on my YouTube channel, where we use some of the tools that I make and I distribute. Now, these tools are consciousness tools, and we did one on just a biscuit or a cookie, where we showed that just the biscuit and cookie by itself, we with the dowsing rods, we found out its field, its auric field. Because remember, everything here in the physical is bound to a consciousness. Okay? Just like us. And when we use these particular tools, and we use the sun ring, we use the divinity ring, I think we use the activation ring, which is a tensor ring as well. And when we use that, what did we find? That the auric field expanded of that biscuit or that cookie. So why did it do that? Why did it expand? Because we were activating its consciousness and also bringing its higher aspects of its consciousness to this plane. And what does that do? It gives it more reach and expands its auric field. Okay? So this is not just true to us, but it's true to all the things, we can do that to food, we can do that to our water and so on. Okay, and this is where everything's going. Okay, so this is the way forward. So I'm just having a quick look at my notes, just make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, well, we're talking about that. Okay, so for a wee while, it's been talking about the abstracts are going to be ascending, okay? And mainly abstracts of duality, abstracts of abuse ascension. Now, that's like a detour of the ascension we want, okay? It's why we've failed in many other ascensions before is because abuse ascension has taken over, okay? That's where we've been too much up here and not in here. Now, the word abstract is very much like a piece of the puzzle, okay? And as I say, ascension is an individual thing where we re-establish a connection back to our true self. And essentially what is true self is when we put all the pieces of the puzzle together and it's just us. Because what's happened for so long, we have not known who our true self is because all these other consciousness have put pieces of their own puzzle in and they don't fit. Okay? What we've been doing of here at Truly Holistic is removing all those other consciousness, okay, removing their pieces of the puzzle out and replacing them back with our own piece of the puzzle until we have a complete puzzle, a complete picture that tells us who we are, okay? And we are getting there, and we are getting there. And essentially what ascension is, and ascendance is going to do by bringing our ascendant power here is eventually the training wheels that we use, these energy tools, we won't need them because the energy tool will be you. Okay? A lot of these tools, for example, this tool here, which is the Ascendant, it's got a cubit measure that we make the rings out of, but the tool itself, what's the purpose of this? Bringing more of your higher aspects of you from outside of this reality here. Okay? So when we bring that in here, we won't need this anymore. Okay? We will have everything here that we will ever need. And that's universal peace, love, consciousness. So I hope everybody's really enjoyed this video. Because when we bring, you hear that term, create your image to be God. Well, if you're the creator, and we're all creators, you're going to be the image of your creator. Okay, and that's source self. Because we're bringing the power of that here. So we become the holographic projection, okay, of our true self. And that is what ascension is. So I hope you've really enjoyed this video. Comment below if you ask any questions. Remember the whole competition's still going on. And I look forward to our next video. Until then.